Welcome to Hot, Holy, and Healed, stories of authenticity, sensuality, and spiritual growth. I'm Dorothy Diana, nurse, yogi, sexual educator, and somatic feminine movement guide. In this space, we explore the powerful intersection of sexuality and spirituality through real-life stories and candid discussions with successful, happy people who continue to move into their best lives. Together, we'll uncover how shedding old messages of shame and negativity can unlock personal power, and opening into true unapologetic authenticity creates deeper connections and lasting change. We'll talk about masculine and feminine energy and how aligning with these builds better relationships and chemistry. We'll talk about the reality of dating and developing connection, both physical and spiritual. The conversations we have here are raw, uncensored, and at times explicit. We hold space for honest dialogue about topics like sex, relationships, and healing, subjects that can be deeply personal and, for some, challenging to hear. So pull up a seat, take a deep breath, and join me as we step into this transformational journey. Your next chapter begins here.
Here we are.
Welcome to the podcast.
Okay, wait. Let me fix myself.
That's what we're doing. Every now and then I'm going to pull my boobs up. I do like the gold pillow.
Okay.
It's really pretty. The truth is they're here to hear your expertise. And you got to be seen, girl. Welcome, Liz Burkholder. She has her PhD in mind-body medicine. Oh, I'm so impressed. I remember when you went through that doctorate program, you already had a ton of clients. You already had a huge following. And you were really called to do that. And now you're working in that field deeply. Yes, Liz specializes in hypnosis and breathwork, among a few other things. Will you lead us? I was a little nervous. And we're just going to do a little breathwork
for grounding and centering and just tapping into our hearts so that our conversation comes from here and not here.
Where should my hands be?
I was just resting on your lap, and we're just going to close our eyes, and we're going to begin taking short, slow, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, taking a few rounds of that at your own pace, and just begin dropping into the body, moving out of the mind space, out of the thinking, analyzing, figuring out, maybe placing a hand on the heart. And then just breathing into the heart, maybe placing another hand on the belly too. I like to have one hand on the heart and one on the belly. Breathing in, expanding the belly as you inhale. Exhale through the mouth, continuing that breath pattern. As you focus on the heart for just a moment, feeling the heartbeat even, tuning into this heart and imagining that our heart is expanding with each cycle of breath, and it's opening up bigger and bigger and bigger, shining this beautiful bright light out into the world, and just really asking our hearts to guide our conversation today and guiding our hearts into anything that needs to be brought out in this conversation or for anyone listening to this conversation. And may the listeners also be touched in their hearts through this conversation today.
Beautiful.
And then just slowly coming back.
Thank you. A couple things I noticed is that I was naturally doing yoga breath out through the nose, not through the mouth. And then also when you were going, and it just was coming out like that. I just wanted to go. But then what's the difference? I hear in Pilates, sometimes it's a heat thing, but what?
Well, there's so many different theories and philosophies on breath work and patterns and techniques. But the most important thing is that we're just breathing and focusing on the breath and taking deeper breaths than normal. Whether it comes in or out through the nose, in or out through the mouth, because most of us are stuck in like this fight, flight, freeze, where we're taking really shallow breaths or even clenching and holding our breath. I tell my coaches and clinicians when I'm training them, I really don't even care how you do it, just breathe deeply, because that's the most important thing, in my opinion.
And if you take that out into life, you've got it made. If you can bring that practice and make it a habit, this is everything. I feel amazing right now.
Yes.
Thank you for leading us through that. So I've known you for a long time. You deeply respect your practice, and I'd love to follow what you're doing. The listeners may not know you, even though you're quite famous now. A little bit about your background. You've been on a long journey to get to where you are as a healer. Some challenging experiences, very challenging. You believe, and we've discussed this before, that traumatic or difficult backgrounds in childhood, you can alchemize that to a service to others beautiful divine path where you help others. Can you touch on that a
Yes.
little bit? I know that's a deep question to
Well,
start.
I love that one. Jump into the deep end. So yes, that pain is a portal, and that pain can be transformed into our greatest purpose. Pain can become our poison as well. We get to choose, is my pain going to be my poison or my purpose and my power? A little bit about my background. I grew up in Mississippi, very poor, in the projects and trailer parks of Mississippi. I had a lot of childhood trauma. My father left when I was 5 years old, and I never saw him again until I was 40 and went back to tell him I forgive him because I had begun this deep healing journey. And
So huge.
yeah, that was one of the biggest wounds of my life. This father abandonment created this whole abandonment wound and this unworthiness wound within me that
For
if I
so
were
many
worthy,
women, right? I mean, I just shout out.
yes,
Yeah.
I believe we all have an abandonment wound on some level. It just shows up differently. That it created so much unworthiness in me. If I were worthy and if I were lovable, he wouldn't have left. And then my stepfather came in a couple of years after that, was an alcoholic, and there was sexual abuse there. So that was another huge wound.
Insult to injury.
I lost my voice after that. I couldn't speak for years. I was very withdrawn and painfully shy, and I could barely speak. My whole journey of this life too has been like claiming my voice. I got a little crack there.
Yes.
I'm still on this process of reclaiming my voice bigger and bigger and bigger. My whole purpose and mission in life is to help people heal from these things, from the abandonment wounds, the unworthiness wounds, loss of power, loss of voice, loss of self. My whole journey has been reclaiming self, reclaiming my voice, reclaiming my power and my body and all these parts of me. And that's what I do in life. My mom was very depressed and had a lot of emotional wounds.
Sure.
She has a lot of unhealed things that she's been through in life and has never really wanted to look at on an emotional level or deal with, or just couldn't. Maybe she was in survival mode. She had lots of kids to take care of and is on her own journey and what I call lost, like very lost. However, looking back now, that was all part of my journey. It was part of my unfolding. I was not lost. I was just on my journey to find myself. But in a sense, I was lost, and I was getting into trouble. I was running around, running away from home, dropping out of high school, and I got arrested at 17. And that was what I call my first awakening. It was a turning point. It saved my life. And in that training school, I had nowhere to go, like nowhere to run but within myself. And so that's actually, my business is called Go Within Institute. And that was when the first time I learned to go within myself and start looking at what's here. Why am I this way? Why am I experiencing these things? Where do I want to go from here? And I found a book there called You Can't Afford the Luxury of a Negative Thought, which cracked me open. I just began having these aha moments, which I now know were like divine intervention, downloads, whatever we want to call them, to help me anchor into myself and my journey. My self-healing journey, which still continues today.
It does. Interestingly, I believe that honestly, there's times in your life when you're that lost, when your whole space in your life is an open question. There's nothing solid. There's nothing certain. The divine comes in if you have any opening to it all, and you'll get the clearest messages because you're in a total state of surrender. You haven't structured your life with all this busyness. You're literally on your knees, spiritually on the floor saying, what the fuck?
That makes me want to cry just you saying that. Yes.
Right. We have very similar stories, interestingly. Like, and the same ages too.
I know your whole background. Like
when you're telling a story, there's some differences, but very similar. Abandonment wounds from my father, mother emotionally disconnected, stepfather coming in abusive, running away, leaving homeless at 17, and getting some divine clarity from being completely lost and homeless.
This makes me want to cry.
Isn't that interesting?
But I know. I think that's amazing and beautiful that you alchemized.
A lot of my wounding was body related, which is I think why I chose this. I'm just like, wow, listen to this. No, I want to hear you. But I think women always want to be like, I relate. So your teen years, this sort of a jail or institute that you had to go to, and you got divine messages. And then take me to your career now. You were a nurse practitioner, so you did go into medical healthcare.
I actually started in computer programming. When I got out of training school, I started reading all these self-help books because that was my opening. That's all I had available. I didn't have a guidance. I didn't have therapy. I didn't have parents or parental figures or people to help me. My mom was doing the best she could. All I had was these self-help books. This is like, it was so helpful for me. And I also know now that like there's transmissions that come through from the authors and people who write those. I do believe that we receive transmissions through even books and music. Wayne Dyer was one. I call him my first spiritual teacher.
He's like a fatherly figure.
My first, one of my first spiritual teachers. And actually I connect to him in meditations even sometimes now.
He's passed now.
Yeah. So his books also like were super helpful for me. And I would listen to his cassette tapes. That's how long ago that was. I was 19 reading these Wayne Dyer books and Dr. John Bradshaw. There was books called Creating Love and Reclaiming and Rechampioning Your Inner Child. So this was preparing me for literally the work that I'm doing in the world. Some inner child work, not a whole lot at that point, but a lot of the mental and cognitive shifting and the mindset work, emotional work. I ordered workbooks and would like all my thoughts and beliefs. And I remember ordering this book called this program by Lucinda Bassett at the Midwest Center for Anxiety and Depression called Attacking Anxiety. When I was 17, I remember seeing an infomercial with my mom on TV. And I was like, Mom, I need that book. And it was like $300 for this set. And that was a lot for us back then. And I was like, can we please order this? I need this. And there was something, I was like, that's what this is. This is anxiety. I didn't even know, like, I thought something's terribly wrong with me. I didn't understand I would have panic attacks and I had depression and severe social anxiety, all these things. And I ordered this and I would do her cassettes and the workbook. And it was a lifesaver for me. It opened up this whole new avenue. And I went back to school for computer programming at the time. Because back then I don't want to work with people. I want to work with computers because I was very shy and withdrawn. Couldn't speak. That was the whole journey. And I did the computer programming and associate's degree in that. And then I went on to work in retail sales, which further helped bring me out of my shell. And I actually fell in love with it and realized, oh, I really do like working with people. And I decided I want to go to nursing school. And I did a 2-year program for an associate's degree. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do.
You got the taste for really healing and helping.
I knew too, I wanted to be a nurse practitioner. I just knew that's my journey. And so I did the associate's degree and then I did the bachelor's degree and then master's. And then I did the master's as a family nurse practitioner. I eventually went and got double board certified as a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner because I realized mental and emotional health is actually my truest passion. And then it was in 2016, I had what I call my second awakening. I was working with patients, mental health patients, and realized that I was prescribing meds, right, for anxiety and depression, because that's what I was trained to do. And actually, medication had helped me tremendously back when I was 19.
It's like crutches. But
it's like a
substitute for the exercise. I recently broke my leg.
Right, it's temporary
making it
until we get strong within.
You can't be on crutches forever.
Right.
Get off those crutches.
I love it. I love this analogy. The first line therapy, when honestly it should be last line therapy.
Last line therapy for absolute urgent near death. Yeah.
And so for me, it helped when I was 19 and I was having severe panic attacks and I couldn't go to school. And so like medication, SRIs helped me to at least be able to go to school without that panic. The problem is, well, I'm not going to personally.
Well, for me, they took away my orgasm, I'll be honest. When
Yes.
I was put on Lexapro in grad school for panic attacks.
So it's parallel
Panic attacks
lives.
starting at 17. I turned and looked at something, the thing would jitter first and then settle. And I was like, this can't be right.
That is one of the big complaints is that it decreases orgasm and libido. There's lots of side effects, right? But one of the big things is also that the withdrawal coming off of them can be so horrible for a lot of people. So I want to help people on a deeper level. These people would come to me and talk about all their trauma. I was talking to a friend from Mississippi who was a therapist, and she said, you should do this hypnotherapy training. And I was like, hypnotherapy? What even is that? Coming from a family with like a religious Christian biblical background, I remember my mom saying, don't mess with that hypnotherapy. That's the devil.
Inviting demons in.
So I was like, wait a minute. It doesn't feel that way.
Doesn't feel true.
It doesn't feel true for me. And the people that I'm talking to that are doing it, I was called to this. Like I was called to this hypnotherapy training and I went there in 2016 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida for a week-long intensive training. And that was my second awakening. It cracked me wide open and got me deeper into the emotional and somatic work that I had not gotten to in the 20 years prior, or how many years prior with the mindset work and some of the emotional work. But it like cracked me deep into my childhood stuff. It was age regression. I was back at 8 years old in the bed with my stepfather, feeling trapped, feeling smothered. I can't speak. I can't move. And had this whole release and experience where I was releasing all this rage and guilt and grief and shame and fear. All this stuff just came out of me.
What was the biggest
Like an
emotion for you that you had to go back to the most?
Oh my God.
From all that.
You know what? There's been so many, but shame is a really, really big one. Shame. Like, and I'm still unpacking some deeper layers of that.
Incapacitating. It freezes you very much.
Yes.
So this is how I think of shame. It's like this feeling.
Yes. And it's like this huge wet blanket over you where you literally just feel like I just need to go in and hide, or you want to sink into a cave or into the earth and hide. It's hiding. It's like can't be seen.
You remember when my license plate said
heavy.
shameless for like a
Yeah.
few years? Yeah, because that was my biggest emotion that I had to overcome.
I would say that's probably.
I mean, there was plenty of rage.
There's lots of stuff, like there's fear and rage,
Yeah, lots of rage.
and guilt, grief of loss
Yeah.
of boundaries and loss of body and loss of childhood, loss of all that. But with shame, what I'm learning though is that it blocks you from even feeling all the other emotions.
So you're turned off because if something's wrong with me. So if I feel it, it's always back to my fault, right?
Yes.
Whereas if you process shame, then you can see rage is because something legit happened.
Right.
I didn't deserve it.
Right.
And now, okay.
Because shame says I'm bad, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with me. It's
Like
a
can't feel anything.
defectiveness wound, right? Like
Yes.
there's something defective about me. I'm bad, I'm wrong. So if there's something wrong with me, a lot of times we learn too that it's not even okay or safe to feel emotions, because if I feel emotions, then there's something wrong with me too, right? I'm too sensitive, I'm weak,
Because
whatever.
my parent, when I felt it, they had shame.
Yes.
They couldn't hear it because then it means something's wrong with my parenting. And I'll tell you, I struggled with that in my parenting.
yes.
I had to really confront that in my personal parenting. That when I would get triggered
Yes.
by their sadness or their anger,
yes.
telling, oh my gosh, if I was a good mother,
And it's my fault.
if I was a good mother, they would be happy.
Yes. Oh, I'm still working through layers of this right now with parenting. Oh, that's a whole nother podcast.
It's a whole nother thing. But I found
With the
myself
parenting.
saying it out loud for me was really helpful to be like, okay, I'm feeling really like upset right now because I feel like everything's my fault. I'm not getting a lot of appreciation. I'm trying really hard, but nobody seems happy. And they're like, Mom, are you talking to us? I'm
All the time, my kids too. Mom, who are you talking to? What are you? I'm like, I'm talking to me. I'm talking to myself right now. They're like, well, I think I'm supposed to answer. So can you go another way?
Oh, that's a daughter. Because a son
Yeah, my
ain't going
daughter.
to answer you at
My
all.
daughter. She's something else. That's a whole other thing. But both my kids, speaking of that and emotions and even my own emotions, I'll say something like, oh, I need to go outside and just lay in the sun and grieve and cry and process my grief. And they're like, okay, can you close the door, Mama, so we want to hear you?
They're
learning.
so lucky they're raised with a woman who feels it all and expresses it. I mean, without being damaging or projecting it on, because
Although some of that
these
unconsciously
women are
does happen
shut
sometimes
down.
too. And I'm working through that too.
Of course it does. And we're never going to be perfect. You know, I love to say this, like a healing journey, like I'm just reaching one hand down. Like I'm literally one rung above you on the ladder.
Yeah.
But they hear us processing it and they hear us saying things like, oh, wow, I feel really angry right now and I'm feeling, whatever we're feeling. And it becomes the language in their head where they're like, oh, it's not my fault. My mom's just got all these emotions.
Right.
They've heard about my childhood. They've heard about your childhood. They don't tell them every detail.
Right.
When it's appropriate. Well, sometimes you'll see this in me because this has happened. I'm still working on it.
I think
It's
that's
not your
really
fault.
good that you're open and communicative with your children. I think we should be. I think that's part of the problem from the past and maybe our generations, our parents' generations, is that they weren't open and communicative and talking about things. And that's a whole nother thing.
They had to be
too.
perfect.
And
Women
they
had
repressed
to be
everything.
perfect.
too.
Like they were worried that they wouldn't get married if they weren't perfect. Like it goes way back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's so much
perfect woman.
that goes way
We unperfect up in here. Come on now.
We unperfect and imperfect and all the things. Yes, up in here. Yes. I love it. That's good. So shame is a really, really big one that I've had to really break down layer by layer by layer. And also tons of rage in there from just being abandoned, from being abused, from being unseen, unheard, right? And there's been a lot of that. And
Does it go like this in your life? You start to heal it, then it comes back again. And then this one pops up. And then when you're out in the world being vulnerable, teaching in an intimate relationship, you get triggered all the time. Right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I'm working through some really deeper layers of triggers right now, and within relationship, and also things that I'm moving through in my life. I call my third awakening, which I'm not public with that just yet. But what I'm learning is it's all a journey, and it's all what the journey
it becomes
is.
a beautiful journey, doesn't it?
Beautiful.
Once you can tap in. I had this conversation yesterday. She's in a dark place. And one thing she was saying is that when a woman shows up positive and lighthearted, there's a belief here that it's fake. That it's always performative. And the truth is, when you do the healing work, you are happy most of the time.
Yes.
Lots of triggers if you're living wide open.
Yes.
Pretty happy. Do get to that place where life is beautiful. It's a miracle. I've seen you cry so many times. You'll laugh at the drop of a hat. You'll cry because you're wide open. It's a beautiful thing. There's a joy. That's little girl openness. That's little girl vulnerability. And that's what we're trying to reclaim. That little girl that was shamed and shut down and quieted.
Yes. And I can't express myself, and I can't be me, and it's not okay to be me, and who I am is not enough.
There's no joy there. Because now you're
Right.
But when you open up and
Yes.
start doing all the healing work, yes, it's scary. Yes, you cry a lot, and you now can access joy.
Oh God, yes.
Huge amounts of
God.
joy.
Oh God. Yes.
Right?
I think if anybody needs to hear, this is one of the most important points, that the deeper we can feel the pain and actually feel our grief and whatever's there, the deeper we can feel joy and pleasure and ecstasy and gratitude and actually find pleasure in the difficult situations even.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's like joy and beauty, and the word that comes to me too is aliveness, like being alive.
Way turned up.
Alive, even to the point now where if I'm in the floor, I'm a deep feeler.
I cry on the floor, on my
too.
knees, rolling
If
around.
I'm on the floor and I'm wailing and crying and moving into something and deep through something. Also, how can I even feel that there's some aliveness in here? I'm a human. I'm experiencing this human self, this human experience to the fullest. And I'm not shutting it down and shutting it out and numbing myself out and disconnecting and dissociating.
Grace comes down when you're in that moment, and you'll get miracles, signs, you'll get a loving peace once you process it all. I'm going to add to that, sexually, can we say it? A woman who is deeply in touch with her emotions, has accessed feminine joy, has accessed that side that comes after healing. The bedroom becomes a whole other situation.
Yes.
He has never met a woman like that, because so few women have actually done that work. Men need to penetrate you emotionally and spiritually. So you become that woman that's penetrable in so many ways. It turns up the sex life like nobody's business.
Also speaking about that, because so many of us, women actually and men, have experienced sexual trauma on some level, to some degree. There's a lot of in sexuality and in the sacral chakra, and it's either super repressed, like numbed out, disconnected, or it's performative, right? What does this look like from the outside?
Well, that's what our
is he
culture
feeling or thinking from the
tells
outside,
us that's the value.
or people thinking from the outside, right?
Yes.
So there's the opposite extreme, right? Of hypersexuality, where we're using sex as a way to feel ourselves or fill a void, or trying to get external validation through sex, through manipulation.
Yeah. If I'm sexy enough, I'll be saved.
Give that part of myself. Someone will love me, like me, accept me, right? There's another way that comes from internal, and loving myself and accepting myself and feeling myself first.
Falling in love with myself.
Yes.
And not just here, but the part that was cut off and shamed since childhood, which is here
Yes.
for women hugely in so many subtle and overt ways. This has to be reclaimed.
Oh, yes.
I don't care how you do it. There's a million ways. I love Tantra, but you got to reclaim your sexuality for yourself without partnership completely. And then once he comes in, it's going to blow his mind.
Yes.
We've had some good conversations about that.
Yes, we have. And the other part too is the heart. Heart gets so blocked. Like the heart gets blocked and shut down to love and intimacy, right? And nurturing. So when we have these traumatic experiences, we learn to close off our heart, and it gets really walled off, and we get defensive, and we have all these defense mechanisms to protect this part of ourselves. So we don't know how to be vulnerable. We don't know how to truly express ourselves. We don't know how to receive love and receive nurturing and receive compassion from people, and we become overgivers.
Yeah, it's walled off because it hurt, and we didn't know how to deal with the hurt as a child. Grown woman, we've learned to keep those walls up because heart is so afraid. Once we start listening to her, there's a lot of tears with that. She goes, I can feel this. It's okay to feel this. It's safe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Which this also takes us into the inner child healing.
Ooh.
One of the most important things that causes the biggest shifts, or creates the biggest shifts.
Yes, that's good. When someone comes to you struggling with disconnected or trauma, what's the first step that sparks real change?
And to me, well, there's actually two, and they're intertwined. It's the emotional, feeling the emotions, learning to feel and express those repressed emotions. And I don't care what anybody says, we all have them, because our society has taught us that it's not okay to feel them. We have to repress them down, and it's not okay to feel them. It's not okay to cry. We're too sensitive to whatever.
For sure.
So feeling those repressed emotions and connecting with the inner child self, who carries all the pain and who holds all those beliefs that I'm not enough, I'm too much, I'm not good enough, I'm not safe, I'm unworthy, I'm not lovable. And we have to start like working with those parts of ourselves who are still stuck playing out that same story in our lives, driving the bus of our lives.
Driving the bus.
We
Because
don't
if you're
even know
not
it.
listening, the loudest ones inside, the ones that are most scared or angry, are going to be driving the bus. I call it head of the table. That's why you're doing all that crazy
The
stuff.
5-year-olds running the shit.
Yeah. Angry 15-year-old.
My angry 15-year-old too. She's
She'd smoke and like wear
mine
naughty
too.
things and just look
Oh,
at people
God.
like this.
Oh my God, that's so
Like,
funny that yours is a smoker
funny?
too. My
So cute.
15-year-old self has her leg kicked up with these combat boots on, and she's like, "Fuck you, bitch."
Fuck you, bitch. And she'll
And
take
fuck the
care of us.
world.
But she
Yes.
is very protective
Yes.
of my 9 to 12-year-old. Oh, girl. Do y'all know what we're even talking about? It's okay if you don't. Come see Liz.
Or Dorothy, because we both do this type of work in a little bit of a different form.
way.
But yes, the protectors, the adolescent ones, the teenage ones, the rebels, all those, they're protecting the little vulnerable, scared, sad, shameful parts of ourselves that are hiding,
Yeah.
that are not safe.
How many times do you see women with that whole like, well, he did this and fuck that. And can you believe she did it? Like on social media, I'm like, in our teenager, that angry woman
It's
who's
the persecutor.
in her
Yeah.
teenager.
Oh yeah, that's the protector teenage self usually. And also in the work that I do, we get into the victim triangle, which is the victim, persecutor, and the rescuer. So usually the teens, the adolescents, the protectors often are not always, but the persecutor role. They're like here to say, fuck you, you're not gonna harm me, you're not gonna hurt me. It's everybody else. Like everybody's against me. It's the world against me, and I have to protect myself against the world. But this is why I love Richard Schwartz's work, IFS, Internal Family System. He says that there are no bad parts. Like they're all benevolent. Even though
They all serve a purpose.
they all serve a purpose, and they all think they're helping us. They think they're taking care of us and protecting us. But they're so stuck in this old pattern, this old past experience. They don't know that, oh, actually I'm a grown-up person now who has resources and has tools and ability to take care of myself and keep myself safe now, like I didn't as a child. So, I mean, they're all benevolence. There are no bad parts. And this is why the work is to love them and accept them and integrate them, hear them.
There's a position for them somewhere.
And
There's time. There's sometimes that teenager is very appropriate.
Yes.
Probably few and far between, but sometimes.
Well, there is. So I talk about this too. My rebel self, I call her like the rebel. She's the one who said, we're not going to be a nurse practitioner in that way. We're going to do it this way. I was like, what are you doing? What is that? You're not a therapist. You're doing emotional work. You're doing somatic work, but you're a nurse practitioner. Why are you not prescribing meds? That's what you're supposed to do. I'm like, nope, I'm doing it this way. This is the way I'm doing it against everyone. And that part of me is also the one that said, oh yeah, I can start my own nurse practitioner practice when everybody said, you can't do that right now. You don't have enough experience being a nurse yet or a nurse practitioner yet. And I said, yes, I can.
It's funny that our generation tends to question ourselves more. And then you're watching these 20-somethings have these giant courses and they're taking all these patients. And, right, that
But I'm like, go right ahead,
ahead.
because we've cleared the path, actually. What happens is the older generations and even the ones before us, they do the work and the inner work and they clear the path for us to come, and it's easier for us. And we're clearing the path and making it easier for the younger ones. So I see them doing that. I'm like, good, you go ahead.
Yeah. I've come to like no's almost more than yeses, because no's clear the way. And I have people in my life that can't say no. I do. And I found how confusing does that make things. So I'm kind of like loving the no lately. Like, give me more no.
Yeah. I'm still leaning into that a lot too, because I didn't learn how to say no. And I'm still like undoing layers of that.
I might have told you with my partner. We were in bed together and I had an idea of something I wanted to try. Yeah. And I said, oh, let's try this. And he sat there for a minute like that and he goes, no. And it was something kind of basic. I didn't think it was that far out there, but I actually loved it. It tickled me so much and it gave me a sense of relief. Like, this is a person who can say no. Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Because it makes it so much easier.
A boundary.
Yeah, instead of like, oh, okay, maybe. Well, let me, and I never know what that means. Okay,
yeah, that's good. Yeah, it gives clarity.
Yeah, and we still talk about it now because now we have done that thing many times.
But at the time, it was a no. He wasn't ready.
Many people struggle to integrate sexuality with spirituality. You know, I love this topic. For you, do you ever find in your practice guiding people to connect those parts of themselves, the sexual and the spiritual? Is that anything you do, or if not in your practice, your personal life?
Well, they're so highly tied because the sexual energy is creation energy. We create babies through that sexual energy. So it's the core creation energy. And creation energy is tied to spirits because it's all connected. That's been a super deep journey for me too along the years. But when I teach this in my training, I do talk about how they're tied. But what I've seen is when we heal those things that are in our body, the trauma that we hold, we talk about chakras and all that, when we heal trauma that's in our body and in our chakras and our root and sacral, especially. These are the deep where we hold most of the trauma. And even like this power center here, the solar plexus, we do that deep work. It automatically opens up so much for people. And they even have what we call spiritual gifts coming online. They get more intuitive. They get more psychic gifts coming in. They're able to see things that people can't see. They become more clairsentient, claircognizant. It's just so tied that when we clear this stuff out of these lower chakras that are tied to our sexuality and trauma and all these other things, that just opens up more.
This is how we're meant to be.
Does that make sense?
We're meant to have all those gifts.
Yes.
We're meant to
We all
be
have
able to have a
access to that.
vision and call it in the next day. We're meant to have people coming towards us to support our journey. And that's shut off from us at a young age. And I think it's
Yes.
intentional
Mhm.
because you're right. When that opens up, all of a sudden now women can manifest like lightning
Yes.
fast. All of a
Yes.
sudden the things they're dreaming of keep coming towards them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, totally. And
So
and
it's
things
not
just
magic.
start to shift.
It's spiritual. It's a divine conduit.
Yeah.
We're
I-
supposed to have that. Everyone is
Yes.
supposed to have that.
Yes, and we all have access to it.
Yes.
I think that we're just blocked from so many things because we have all this stuffed energy and stuff, emotions and stuff, trauma that's living in our body and our
Yeah.
cells. So,
Mhm.
so it's a process of unlayering all of that and becoming actually who we actually truly are, our authentic
Agreed.
selves.
Yeah. So for you, sexuality and spirituality very
Definitely.
much entwined, cannot really be removed from each other. And I agree with you completely. And I think it's one of the biggest damaging myths of our culture that we've been given. And it doesn't mean now you've re-embraced your sexuality. You're going to go out and have penetrative sex. Absolutely not. You're actually more discerning. It becomes
Yes.
very much about self-love.
Oh, yeah.
And you start listening to her, right?
Yes.
And she'll
Yes.
tell you.
Yes, all the things.
Yes. No.
You're more
yes.
discerning, you know more about who's a fit and who's not, and you're not so quick to just say, this is for everyone. Like it's divine, it's sacred. That is, to me, I learned through my journey that this part of me is sacred. It's sacred.
So
and
much.
people don't get the keys to the palace
No,
unless
even your
they're,
heart.
Even
Even
anyway.
that true deepest emotions, that's sacred too. A lot of women in trauma, tell me if you agree with this, in my experience, are also emotional vomiters a little bit, meaning they're not discerning. Everywhere has to feel all their stuff everywhere they go.
Yeah.
And they share too much with the wrong people. Sometimes it's unsafe, but I feel like when you reclaim that sense it's sacred and you
Yeah.
fall back in love with yourself, you actually are discerning not
Yeah.
just here,
Right.
who you share this
Overall.
with, but everything.
Relationship, work, job, career, everything
Yeah.
becomes more aligned with the true self, the authentic self is what I call it, because we have so many trauma responses and survival mechanisms built up that becomes our personality.
Yeah, that becomes a personality.
And it's not even, and that's not even our authentic self. A lot of us are just
Right.
living as these trauma responses, survival responses
Everything.
that are, and calling it our personality. And it's actually, maybe it is our personality, but to me, it's more of like trauma responses, and our true self is not.
It's hiding. And
Right.
then once you discover her, oh my gosh, your life will change tremendously. I work with clients and intimacy, things like that. Once you do the work, your relationships start to fall away. Like,
Yeah,
unfortunately, sometimes it's a marriage
Yes,
because you are like up leveling completely. And it reminds me of this thing that what Taylor Swift said recently,
You know
like,
what? I did
your
hear
energy is so
that.
precious and valuable. Not everyone gets it.
Oh, I did see that.
Which
I
is
something
beautiful.
about that everyone doesn't get access to your
Everyone
energy.
doesn't get access. And I think a traumatized woman frequently has leaky energy.
Oh,
Like she
yes.
doesn't even know where to put
Right.
it.
Yes.
She chooses
Yes.
poorly. It's everywhere.
Yes.
And
Yes.
once you heal, you really do learn to become your own container.
Yes. Yes.
A beautiful container.
Yes. So many things you say there that I'm like, oh, we need to talk about that. But one of the things was just going back to the creation energy and manifestation tied to sexuality. And you were saying one of the ways that we can channel that sexual energy is into actual creating things, right? Creating businesses or creating our passion in life or creating love in so many other areas of our lives. It doesn't have to be sexual, right?
No,
It's just
that energy is
life energy.
yes.
Creation energy, like channel that into pouring it into love in the world or into my parenting as far as like being a loving parent or being a loving friend. It's just so many other ways to channel that into other places.
Once you open
in
up
the
this
world.
area, it goes, yeah, and you will be a hornier person. Let's just call it. You will, right? Because
You're so funny. I love to talk about the
But
deeply
you
taboo
will be.
topics.
So let's just is going to happen, but also that's not going to become your focus. It's not like you're opening this energy.
Right.
Now you're like, I'm all sexual. And it's very interesting on Instagram, some of the women on there that have big followings that talk about tantra and sexuality, it almost feels like it's overemphasizing that part of it. No, when you truly open up and you're not just doing here, you're doing all of it.
Some of them haven't done the super deeper trauma work that's in the root chakra.
So they're hyper identifying with this, which is great. We're going to push back against cultural messages.
Journey. Everyone's on their journey.
Did you say journal?
Journal. Everyone's on their journal. Everyone's on their journey. So it's okay. It's where they are.
Their general genital journey. That sounds like a course. Let's go write it.
Write that down.
Love you. Okay. Should we break and do a little hip circle for a second?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay. Alexa, play. She's going to play something boring. Alexa, play low.
Okay. This is fun.
Yeah, that's right. Alexa, volume 10. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. Oh, what?
Okay, so guys,
I'm just moving my hips. I love this silky dress. All right, I'm good. I'm probably going to go to now.
Okay.
So stop.
That's so fun.
All right, classy ladies. Oh, that was good. It feels good in my body.
Yeah, it does. That was fun.
One thing that's interesting about your practice and what you teach is masculine, feminine energy, but you describe it and teach it in a bit of a different way. Something about containment. Will you talk about that a little bit?
My understanding and belief system is that we all contain masculine and feminine energy within, and we're usually forward in one of those energies. We either move through the world more forward in our masculine energy or more in our feminine energy. And also we can choose like when we're exerting more of our masculine and more of our feminine. And some of us want to be in one of those more than the other. And there's also healthy masculine. I don't even know if I like the word distorted. Wounded or unhealthy. Even somebody was explaining it as immature. So there's immature masculine, immature feminine. And those are just parts that need to be matured. I like that because it's like we can mature it. Our feminine, our masculine. Through which we do through growing up our inner child. We're doing the inner child work and growing them up emotionally because they're all emotionally stuck, right? In these places. So like we can either be living, which most of us are living, in my opinion, right now, from this very immature masculine, immature feminine, which looks a little different. Immature masculine is super overproductive, working so hard, go, force, even to the point of like abuse and domination, domineering. In my opinion, unhealthy or immature feminine is the total collapse. Like I'm collapsed, I'm helpless, I'm a victim, no one's here to help me. I need someone to save me. I can't do anything on my own. So like we kind of oscillate maybe between those two, but the healthy masculine is a true containment, like can hold and contain the feminine. And it's the part that gets work done, gets things done, is focused and linear and can make a decision and do the thing, right? Within balance. And then the healthy feminine or the mature feminine is the expression. I can express myself and be in my emotions and use my voice and be in my sensual energy without using that as manipulation or without chaos.
We're like, I'm only flowing all the time.
Yes. Unhealthy, immature feminine can be super chaotic, right? And I think we can all be all of these things and it's all okay. We're all growing and learning. But Dr. Kelly Brogan talks about this where she talks about inner husbanding herself, self-husbanding. And so I feel and imagine that there's this strong inner husband who's got me, who's got all my feminine energy, even the chaos. Okay, what you got? What do you need to do and process? And it creates this safe container to be and feel all the things. And it's okay. And there's no bad or wrong with it. There's no shaming with it. And it's like the strong spine, soft heart is what she says. And this is kind of what I call it. There's a strong spine that can hold all of it, can hold all of me. All of me that is chaotic, all of me that is carrying shame or old beliefs or that doesn't understand.
We have to have it. We have to have an integrated masculine energy. And a lot of women are cut off from that because it was scary because in childhood, what they saw is their mother in too much masculine energy because she was cut off. So that became scary. That meant no love. And then they had a wounded father, passive alpha, who then, they didn't get to see it. So then we come into adulthood, fearing it. So we repress it. This was a lot of work I had to do the past few years.
Yeah, me too.
Balancing your checkbook.
Excuse me. Yes, me too. Because also we may think of the masculine as scary, right? Like maybe it was abusive and loud and scary. And so
it's not the divine masculine.
Right. That's not the healthy masculine. It's the immature masculine who's wounded.
There are so many good men out there. Women are so afraid of men because they're wounding and they have to start to look for good men that are in
This is why we have to heal our within ourselves, the masculine wounds and where we've been wounded from the masculine and heal where we've been wounded from the feminine.
Otherwise,
so that's
we have
the core work.
Cracked lens.
Yes. This is the core
All
work.
we see is
Where
the
have I
movement.
been hurt or abandoned or cut off from the feminine energy in my life? And where have I been hurt, cut off, abandoned, abused by the masculine feminine in my life? And we've all had all of it.
Even if you had perfect parents, I don't care. I mean, I've heard this. I know you have with clients. My childhood was perfect. It was great. There are no complaints. And then you start to dig deeper.
Oh,
It looked
yeah.
really good, except.
Well, and then there's all these things that come out. It's because they think it's normal. And I just shut it all off and shut it down. So,
Because it doesn't matter if everyone thought your family was the bomb diddly and you lived in the big house and they wore the perfect clothes and y'all were really popular.
Some of the
right.
biggest dysfunction and abuse can happen in those families, but it can happen anywhere.
That's true, though. This is my last question. I really want to talk about what you have going on right now. I know that you're doing a lot of big work with people. You're training practitioners, you're leading retreats. You have a lot going on. So give me your top 3 or 4 things, how people can find you and get involved in your work.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things right now, one of the biggest passions is training clinicians and coaches in this work because there are not enough of them. Although there are more and more coming about. As far as therapists, doctors, and nurses, those are really my core people, the mental health people who are psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, again, doctors, nurses, nurse practitioners who work in mental health. We've got the mental health piece down. We've done the cognitive work. People have been in therapy for decades, years. They understand analytically. They understand from a cognitive place, usually their issues. So that's a piece of it. Well, now we have to get what Michelle Chalfant calls chin down. We have to get into body. So there's this whole somatic meaning body. I think a lot of people don't understand what does that mean. Soma is the Greek word for body. So when we talk about somatic, it just means of the body or in the body. We have to get in the body. We have to get chin down. And that includes the emotions, feeling the emotions. So there's not enough therapists and psychiatric nurse practitioners and psychologists who are doing this work. And I am here to train them. I'm here to teach them how to do it because here's what happens. If you are in the mental health field or any kind of coaching or therapy field where you're helping other people, if you're not doing that work, the somatic and inner child work and emotional work, you will be left behind within 5 to 10 years.
I would agree with that.
Because that's where we're going. Because people see that when they do that work, they have significant shifts.
It's lightning
quantum
fast.
leaping. You quantum leap in life.
You do. I'll be honest, doing private clients in 1 month, most of their issues are resolved. Has that happened to you?
Well, they come for 1 to 5 sessions and they're like, boom, their whole life changed. They left these dead relationships, dead marriages. They left these old careers and they're doing this whole new,
So therapy is making real good money off keeping people for years and never solving the problem.
Yeah. Barely moving the needle.
Barely moving the needle. That's why you work with practitioners.
People. Yeah. Well, and I also don't do a lot of one-on-ones now because I am focused more on one-to-many and doing groups, workshops. My practitioners and clients, I still work with them or referrals.
The VIP club.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Or people that have already done the work or are doing the work and already know the work. So it's easy. People that are just ready. And it's a lot to pry things out of people if they're not ready yet, which is probably where the talk therapy helps them. Yeah. Those layers first. And then when you're ready to dig deep, that's when you come.
When you're ready to actually change and transform.
Well,
give me a call.
To get the bigger shifts. I mean, it's true. Yeah.
You need to start at the beginning. Oh, is there something wrong with me? Wow. Is something wrong? Yeah. Start there. Yeah. And then once you
when you're ready to dive into the deep end, that's when you come to do this deeper work, the somatic and emotional work, because it is deeper and there's a lot of emotions we have to go through. And that is the most difficult thing for people to move into is the emotions. It's the hardest thing.
So scary.
It's the whole thing that we check out from and dissociate from. It's the core of addiction, running from feelings, running from emotions, running from the pain. And so until you're ready to face that pain and actually move through the pain and feel the pain, you're just going to kind of be barely moving the needle.
This is why I love hot yoga. It is very uncomfortable. But one of the reasons I'm addicted to it for years is you are uncomfortable and the entire time you're breathing deeply. And if you're not, you're actually not doing it. When you stop your long, slow breaths, you stop doing it. I'm so uncomfortable halfway through Justin Alexander's class at Melting Point that I start laughing sometimes. I can't believe he's asking us to do more. I can't believe it. And the beauty in that is you're deeply uncomfortable, but you have to breathe the whole time. Yeah. What a beautiful parallel for the work we're doing. Right? Yes, it sucks, but keep breathing.
And it's expanding your capacity.
Keep connecting. You'll be okay. Yeah. You're going to come out stronger.
Oh, yeah, because it's expanding your capacity.
Everything gets cleaned out.
And that's what we're wanting to do is expand our capacity to hold more, to be more, to show up more.
You got practitioners, you're training them. and VIP clients.
Also, they don't have to be licensed clinicians. That's why I say clinicians and coaches, because I do have some people that come from the yoga world, from like yoga teachers and Reiki healers and energy healers, sound healers, who also want to learn how to do this work to take their clients deeper. So it's actually open to all coaches and clinicians who feel called to do that. And in that training, they do their own work, their deep work. And this is where this training differs than others, is because you're coming in to do your deep work, because I truly believe until we do that deep work, we can't hold space for other people in that.
We're blocked, and they feel it, almost like an energetic feeling of almost shame. You can actually re-trigger people because they're going to sense on some level that what they're saying is unacceptable.
Right.
You've got to unpeel it all.
Yes. And it's fun. It becomes a fun process. Oh, what are we going to find today?
The treasure box.
There are gifts in those triggers. There are gifts in there.
I've had these conversations with you, like this happened, and we just start laughing at the trigger. Like, I was so triggered. Look at me. Look what I done did.
Yes. Like the other day, I was in Publix parking lot, crying in my car, balled up in a fetal position. And I was like, oh, okay, I needed that. I felt so much better after that. Like, no big deal. Like, I had to move through some stuff. That's totally
normal Tuesday.
It is. And like you said, I can connect to joy and gratitude in the most hard, difficult things and times. Like, right now, I'm going through one of the deepest, craziest, biggest things in my whole life over the last year. And it is insane, like how much joy and gratitude that I'm able to ground into through this thing that would literally knock people off, like the rocker. And I've been off of it. Like, I've been knocked off, trust me, but I get right back up.
But this is beautiful to know. So for women who struggle so much with being a single mom and having, I had a message this morning come in from someone, and she spiraled down in the text about how difficult her life is and all these million things that are going wrong for her. Doing some of this work would help someone like that, because you have dark days, but you understand that everything is working for your good, and there's a deep cellular faith that comes, which you don't end up spiraling into negativity.
I think we hit those places, but we don't stay there.
A lot of women, that's their language, is the complaining and the I'm a victim and my life is so hard, and this is how I connect with people. You got to shed those people, ladies. You got to, that will drag you down. Very much.
And really, and we just have to do our inner work. I always say, anything that happens in my life, I have to say, what is this reflecting about me? Like, what's in here? Like, what do I need to know about this?
Everything.
And it's always about us. It's always about me. The world doesn't revolve around us, actually. I am the center of my universe, actually,
When you are, other people can trust you when you're really in love with yourself and you trust yourself. Okay, so practitioners.
Retreat.
So
we have our retreat coming up in 2 weeks. I don't know if you're going to post this in time for that, but our retreat is going to be amazing. I just talked to one of our friends today. She's like, you don't even have to sell me on the work. I already know.
We're doing it in Cabo, and it's very luxury, but we're going to go hardcore. Inner work, lots of fun, lots of work on sensuality.
Fun, laughter, joy, pleasure, but also pain and moving all that heavy stuff out.
Shedding it. Yeah.
Like, so that's amazing. And then I have this new series coming. It's a virtual series of processing emotional wounds. That's going to be a 6 or 8 week program for people that are just starting. If they're like, how do I get into the emotional work? How do I do grief work? How do I release shame from my body? It's like a beginner series of breaking down emotions and learning to process through and be okay with emotions.
Good. Where do they find that?
So on gowithininstitute.com. So www.gowithininstitute.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram as Go Within Institute.
Beautiful. I'm so excited.
I'm excited
for all the things you're doing and shining your light in the world. So as a total goddess, really.
I receive that you too.
You have such a bright light. It's palpable when you come in the room.
You do too.
You work so hard for women, and I always say women, but you're co-ed.
I do work with
men
men too. It just happens to be that most of the people that come to me right now are women, but I do work with men.
You had a good story about a police officer recently that came to one of your events, and he came very buttoned up. I mean, you can spot it when someone walks in, kind of this emotional closed offness. When you do this work long enough, you can really see their bodies. And by the end of the weekend, even you said he was like a child, which is what we're looking for, right? In the work, the playful, the child to actually come out, that exuberance, that positivity, that freedom,
the openness, the joy, the freedom to just be and express in a relaxed body, but also from a masculine energy. Like he was in his masculine, but it was just this free, open energy where before it was very closed off. And I do believe that first responders have a lot of trauma.
Maybe I'll make a course directly for them at some point.
Yeah.
Since you have a medical background.
Did you say we?
I said you, but since you heard we, obviously.
Yes, you have a medical background also.
So that's a good idea.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to say goodbye.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Happy healing. That is awesome.
Get her done.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. You're amazing.
So good. We did it.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. You can find me, follow me, and message me, Dorothy Diana, on Facebook or Instagram. Be sure to check out private and group somatic sensual feminine movement classes for healing or coaching opportunities over at radiantfeminine.life.com. And don't forget to grab my books available on Amazon, 14 Days to Magnetic Feminine Radiance and Unleash Your Radiance, Top 3 Myths About Feminine Energy for Women Over 40. I would love to hear from you. Stay radiant and keep embracing your authentic self.